Okay, so if you're thinking about upgrading your outdoor living space, um, like a lot of homeowners out there, composite decking has probably like really caught your attention.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially, those big names like Trex.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can't deny it. The idea of having a deck that doesn't require you to be out there all the time, slaving away on upkeep, it's pretty appealing, right?
Definitely low maintenance. That's a big draw for people.
Yeah. But, while you're sorting through all the options and, trying to make the best choice for your home, it's only natural to start wondering,
Hmm.
okay, so what's the catch? Beyond all the hype and marketing, what are some of the downsides to composite decking that, maybe don't get as much attention?
Yeah, what are those things that people should really be aware of before they jump in?
Exactly. And that's what we're really going to dig into today.
Okay, love it.
We're going to take a deep dive and explore all sides of composite decking so that you can make a truly informed decision.
Sounds good.
We'll be covering things like, how much it costs upfront, how it handles the heat, how well it holds up to wear and tear, the whole aesthetics thing, and even what you can expect when it comes to installation.
It's important to have the full picture.
Right. But keep in mind that even though we're going to be talking about some potential downsides for every downside, there's usually, a compelling upside to composite decking as well.
Right, so it's about weighing those pros and cons and seeing what makes the most sense for your individual situation.
So let's start with the first thing that often comes up, the upfront cost.
Yeah, cost is definitely a big factor for most homeowners.
When you start comparing those initial quotes for composite decking versus, traditional pressure-treated lumber, there's often a noticeable price difference.
Hmm.
Composite tends to be more expensive up front, and yeah, that can feel like a pretty big hurdle at first.
It's true that initial sticker price can be a bit of a shock for some people, but it's important to look beyond just that initial number.
Yeah, you got to think long term.
Exactly. Consider the total cost of ownership over the lifespan of the deck.
So, okay, think about a traditional wood deck for a second.
Okay.
Yeah, you might save some money up front on the lumber itself.
Right?
But then you're signing up for years of ongoing expenses. You've got your sealants, your stains cleaners, and then, potentially even repairs down the line because wood can rot, warp, or get damaged by insects.
And those costs add up over time.
Yeah, it's that hidden cost of ownership that can really sneak up on you.
Exactly. You might be saving money initially, but you're also committing to a lot of maintenance, both in terms of your time and your money.
Right. With composite decking, you're buying into that low maintenance lifestyle.
Yeah, no more staining, sealing every year.
So when you look at the bigger picture, how do those costs actually balance out over time?
Well, when you factor in all those avoided maintenance costs and the longer potential lifespan of a composite deck, many homeowners find that the initial investment actually pays for itself over time.
Oh, interesting.
You're essentially paying more upfront for a product that demands way less from your wallet and your free time down the road.
So you might actually end up saving money in the long run.
Exactly. It's not uncommon for people to realize that they've saved thousands of dollars on upkeep over a decade or two with composite compared to what they would have spent maintaining a wood deck of the same size.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, another concern I've heard is that composite decking can get pretty hot in the summer, especially if you choose those darker colors. Is that something homeowners should really be worried about?
It's a valid point. Darker materials naturally absorb more heat from the sun, and that definitely applies to darker shades of composite decking.
So on a really scorching hot day, a dark composite deck could get uncomfortably warm to the touch, potentially even hotter than a natural wood deck in the same conditions.
That's right. But there are definitely things you can do to mitigate that.
And I know manufacturers are coming up with some innovative solutions to address this heat issue as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Companies like Trex, for example, have introduced a wider range of lighter color options,
Okay.
which naturally reflect more sunlight and stay cooler.
So lighter colors are the way to go if you're worried about heat?
They could definitely help, and they've also developed something called cooler technology.
Cooler technology? That sounds interesting.
It involves using specific formulations in the composite material or applying unique surface treatments that are designed to minimize heat absorption.
So it's not just about color choice, but also the specific product line you choose.
Exactly. Different products will have different levels of heat resistance.
Now, besides choosing the right materials, are there any other practical steps homeowners can take to deal with this heat issue?
Yeah, for sure. The design of your outdoor space plays a huge role.
Okay.
If your deck is in an area that gets blasted by direct sunlight all day long, you might want to think about incorporating some shade structures.
Like what kind of shade structures?
Things like pergolas awnings or even strategically planted trees or large shrubs can make a big difference.
Oh, that's a good idea. Using nature to your advantage.
And having good ventilation underneath the deck can also help to dissipate any heat that gets absorbed.
So it's all about creating that airflow.
Right, and I highly recommend talking to a professional deck builder during the design phase. They can give you personalized advice based on your specific situation.
Now let's move on to durability. Composite decking is often marketed as being super resilient, but is it really immune to things like scratches or stains from everyday use?
It's definitely durable, but it's important to be realistic. It's not completely scratch-proof,
Okay, so it's not invincible.
right? If you drag heavy furniture across it without any protection, or drop sharp tools, or even if you have pets with untrimmed nails, those things can potentially cause some surface scratches.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And while many composite materials are pretty stain resistant, certain substances like oils or grease, if they're left to sit for a long time, could potentially leave a stain on some types of composite.
So you still need to be a little bit careful, but it sounds like the quality of the composite material itself is a major factor here.
This is where those advancements in high-performance composite decking really stand out.
Like what kind of advancements?
Well, Trex, for instance, often uses a proprietary protective outer shell on their decking boards.
Okay, what's that all about?
It's a special layer that's formulated to provide superior resistance to fading from UV rays and those everyday scuffs and scratches we were just talking about.
So it's like an extra layer of armor.
You could say that it acts as a barrier against potential damage.
So it's not just about the core material, but also this protective outer layer that gives you that extra level of defense.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to look at brands with strong warranties and a proven track record of performance. It gives you peace of mind knowing that the product is built to last.
That makes sense. Now, let's talk about how composite decking actually looks and feels. One thing I've heard from some homeowners is that while composite has come a long way, it might still lack that natural character and warmth that you get with real wood.
It's definitely a matter of personal preference, and some people are just really drawn to the unique grain patterns, the natural variations in color, and the way real wood ages and develops a patina over time.
Yeah, it's like that rustic charm.
Exactly. And composite decking, being a manufactured product made from recycled plastics and wood fibers, can sometimes have a more uniform appearance, at least initially.
I can see how some people might miss those imperfections of natural wood.
But the thing is, the aesthetics of composite decking have evolved tremendously.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Manufacturers like Trex have put a lot of effort into creating incredibly realistic wood grain textures and offering a huge variety of colors and finishes.
Wow.
You can now find composite decking that very closely mimics the look of different types of natural wood, even down to subtle color variations and realistic textures.
So the visual gap between composite and real wood is shrinking.
It definitely is. Ultimately, it comes down to what you value most in the look of your deck.
Okay.
Some people love the consistent color of composite and the fact that it won't change drastically over time.
Yeah, you know what you're getting.
Exactly. While others might still prefer the natural aging process and unique character of real wood. The good news is the advancements in composite aesthetics have given homeowners more options to bridge that gap.
So you have more choices than ever before. Now, one final potential downside I've heard about is the weight of composite boards. And whether that makes installation more difficult. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, composite decking boards are generally denser and heavier than traditional pressure-treated lumber.
Okay.
And that increased weight can sometimes mean you need to have stronger support structures or use different techniques during installation.
So is that something that DIR should be particularly concerned about, or is it more of a consideration for professional builders?
For someone doing a DIY project, the added weight can definitely make handling the boards more challenging.
I can imagine.
But for professional deck builders, it's just a normal part of working with composite decking. They have the experience and the equipment to handle it efficiently.
Okay.
And in fact, having a professional install your composite deck is really important to make sure it's done right and lasts a long time.
So it's worth the investment to get it done professionally.
It can definitely pay off in the long run. Now, I know we've spent a good amount of time talking about some of the potential downsides of composite decking, but let's shift gears and talk about why it's still such a popular choice.
Yeah, let's highlight those benefits.
Okay, so first and foremost, there's the minimal maintenance aspect.
Yeah, that's a big one.
No more annual sanding, staining, and sealing.
You can reclaim your weekends.
Exactly. And then there's the exceptional resistance to all those common wood deck problems like termites, rot, and splintering.
Composite decking is pretty much worry-free in those departments.
Right. And of course, there's the long lifespan. We're talking 25 to 50 years with very little upkeep.
Yeah.
That's a pretty amazing return on your investment.
It's built to last, and it's often considered a more environmentally friendly option too, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of composite decking manufacturers, including Trex, use a significant amount of recycled materials in their production process.
So it's a good choice for eco-conscious homeowners.
It is. And speaking of Trex, they're really an industry leader, not just in sustainability, but also in offering really solid warranties that show how confident they are in the durability and longevity of their products.
They've really made a name for themselves in the composite decking world.
They're focused on creating a product that balances performance, durability, and aesthetics, all while minimizing environmental impact.
So taking everything into account, is composite decking ultimately worth it for homeowners who are thinking about getting a new deck?
I'd say for a lot of homeowners, the answer is a resounding yes.
Mm.
If you're looking for a long-lasting, low-maintenance, aesthetically pleasing decking solution that can handle anything Mother Nature throws at it for decades, then composite decking is a really strong contender.
It sounds like those trade-offs we discussed, like the higher initial cost, the potential for heat and direct sunlight, and maybe a slightly less natural look at first,
Yeah.
are often seen as acceptable when you consider all the long-term benefits.
That's right. It's all about weighing those pros and cons, and for many people, the benefits outweigh the drawbacks.
So what's the most important piece of advice you would give to someone who's seriously considering their decking options?
Talk to a local reputable deck building professional before you make your final decision. They have experience working with different decking materials in your specific climate, and they can give you personalized advice based on your property, your needs, and your budget.
That's great advice now for our listeners in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Is there a particular contractor you would recommend?
Absolutely. Green Exterior Remodeling in Charlotte and the surrounding areas, they've been around for over 20 years, and they have a fantastic reputation for high-quality custom deck building.
They sound like a great resource.
They're experts in working with a wide range of materials, including Trex composite decking, and they can help you design and build an outdoor living space that perfectly matches your vision, your budget, and your lifestyle.
Perfect. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of composite decking, it's clear that while no decking material is perfect, composite offers a really compelling set of benefits that make it a top choice for a lot of homeowners.
Definitely, it's about finding the right material for your specific needs and priorities.
Exactly. So as you're planning your decking project, take some time to think about what matters most to you. Is it the initial cost, the long-term upkeep, the look, or how long it will last?
Answering those questions will help you determine the best decking solution for your home and your outdoor living dreams.
Absolutely well said. Thanks for joining us today for this deep dive into composite decking.
My pleasure. It was great to be here.
And to all our listeners out there, happy decking.
Happy decking.